Mr. Durham, did you see evidence of collusion between Russia and the Trump campaign in 2016?
No.
So the American public that has been told this hoax for years, it was just that, a hoax. Is that correct?
Our investigation showed that there were a lot of failures in the FBI and how they did this investigation that did not disclose or reveal information or evidence concerning any conspiracy or collusion between Mr. Trump and Russian authorities.
The president today praised the New York Times for a front-page story, as he notes, that there was an undercover FBI investigator who met with a Trump campaign official, George Papadopoulos. The president views this as spying. The attorney general says this is being looked at. Do you think the Justice Department Inspector General will find anything inappropriate on the part of the FBI or the U.S. intelligence community as far as this is concerned?
Well, I don't know, but I will say...
Is it spying?
Well, I guess it meets the dictionary definition of spy.
Work for President Obama, we might not have done the intelligence community assessment that we did that set off a whole sequence of events which are still unfolding today, notably Special Counsel Mueller's investigation. President Obama is responsible for that.
Let's sum it up. Vice President Biden and President Obama knew about it. Hillary fabricated it. The FBI orchestrated it, and the media sold it.
With us now is National Security Attorney Mark Zaid. Counselor, thanks so much for being with us. And this is kind of a little bit of a separate subject, although tangentially related to what Kate was just talking about there. But you are advising clients who are worried about retribution from the incoming Trump administration, revenge. And I was reading an article where you said you were counseling some people to leave the country. Why?
Well, look, Donald Trump and those in his inner circle have been very clear over the period of time, and especially during the campaign, that they do intend to retaliate, and they do intend to retaliate swiftly. They've made those promises. He said that he intends to have his second administration one that fulfills promises. So it would be naive and foolish for us not to take any of this seriously. And we're preparing. Now, I've represented a lot of clients who have been specific targets of President Trump and those around him. We're not just talking about my federal employee workers in different agencies who are uncomfortable, like you've just heard in this last segment. We're talking about people who have been specifically called out by the former president of the United States. And we're not rushing to it. I'm not saying sell your home, move overseas, never come back, become an expat. I'm telling certain clients, a small number, that, you know what, take a vacation for inauguration and let's see what happens in the days or week or two afterwards.
What do you think he could do? What form would retribution, retaliation, revenge take in your mind?
Well, it can vary depending on, obviously, the individuals. It could be as harsh as criminal prosecution. I mean, you yourself and your network are potentially vulnerable. How many times have you done a story on classified information and it being leaked? Well, under the Espionage Act, that's prosecutable. The only reason why it hasn't happened previously is that the norm of the Justice Department has been not to prosecute journalists. There will be no norms that are in the second Trump administration. So we're preparing for all this. It could be tax audits like we saw back in the Nixon administration. It could be terminations like your last discussion was about. It could take the form of civil penalties. I mean, there is a whole host of usage of laws, not even abuse of laws, but the use of laws in a way that hasn't been typical or perhaps extreme that people could fall victim to. Again, it's just preparation.
And is it Donald Trump exclusively that you're concerned about?
No, actually, in many ways, it's more about the people who will be among him. In the first administration, and I represented quite a number of them who were in the White House with Donald Trump, there were people, for example, who would take documents off his desk so that he wouldn't sign them. And he would forget about it. That we saw in the Nixon administration as well, in fact. We're concerned this time around with the extremists, some of them who will be around him, that they will bring the documents to the president to sign. I mean, we've got people like Steve Bannon and others who have made it very clear where they stand on seeking political retribution against their perceived enemies using what is called lawfare, which they have been doing for the last 4 years when he's been out of office, in suing perceived enemies.
I just want to ask, Mark, you're a lawyer, a good lawyer, a very active lawyer. Do you feel like you have recourse to fight this in the courts in the coming months if this were to happen?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, look, the judicial system is still intact. You know, there are a lot more judges appointed by the president, former president, but I've been before many of them. And oftentimes, if not all the time, you know, they're not swayed by political aspects of it. There are jurisdictions where that's been a problem for sure. The biggest problem with challenging this in court based on what the administration might do come January 20th is the length of time that it takes. If someone is prosecuted or sued, I mean, Trump threatened to sue me for treason. It doesn't exist, but he did it. But, you know, if something like that happens, it takes time to go through federal court. We just saw that with the special counsel prosecutions. The reason why they failed was not substantively, it was procedurally. They took too long. So that, you know, I'd hate for any of my clients to be facing whether criminal or civil prosecutions in certain way, and they're victimized for that for 2-3 years. That's still not obviously a lot of fun.